Okie dokie, artichoke. Toriano saying, Sony, today's episode is going to be with Alderman candidate Joseph Williams, along with my co-host Schnelly Dale. Is going to be joining us, and it's going to be a fabulous show. We're going to talk about a lot of different things today. Schnelly Dale.
Good morning.
Hola, ¿cómo está, mi amor? ¿Todo bien? And peace to everybody out there in Chicago. Today's going to be a super great show. We got a lot to talk about. We're bringing back Alderman candidate Joseph Williams. And I want to just thank everybody for just being in just a super tremendous. Hope everyone's in a really great mood today because it's Thursday.
I like that music.
Is Alderman candidate Joseph Williams there?
It is. Good morning. How y'all feeling?
Hey, Joseph. Good morning.
You good?
Yeah, I think we are on and popping today. I got the signal working, I believe, right? Everything is working today.
Everything is in right now. And I got to check this out. Got a good vibe going.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it too.
Let me turn that down before Chanel starts jumping into her Kendrick Lamar rapping.
Toriano, I said it was a vibe. I was feeling it.
I know.
Straight up, that was pretty smooth.
You're gonna go into your Erykah Badu mode. I know at any moment. So
how do you know? It's my favorite. She's my favorite.
So we have a lot of things to talk about. Alderman Joseph, first and foremost, how are you feeling though?
Man, I'm feeling good. I woke up. It's a beautiful day outside. No complaints right now, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to continue to be here. So I feel good. It's a good day for me.
I mean, likewise, I heard that pause in your voice. You're like, ugh. I mean, I feel good, but I've been telling people I feel good, but I feel sad too because there's a lot going on. George Floyd has taken over a conceptual virus, as I call it. It started in the streets of Minneapolis where I lived for 10 years. Plus, my son lives there. I have thousands of friends there. I went to college there. I went to work there. I made my babies there. And now Minneapolis has been decimated. My friend told me that there were over 300 buildings that have been destroyed, and it is more from Chicago. I mean, it's worldwide. And I know that you're out there on the front line. So what's where are you at right now with everything that's happening because today we're talking about George Floyd and what's happening in the world. Because we'd be remiss to not bring that up because people are having a tough time navigating around right now, and it's affecting everything. It's affecting business. It's affecting personal life. So how are you navigating?
Well, you know what? I'll say this. That may be why you maybe heard a certain pause because obviously I'm extremely busy. I'm having to learn how to get a little self-care in there because I'm moving around so much. It's so much happening. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, so when you
gotta make sure that self-care is in.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So I mean,
you can't pour out if you don't have nothing to pour out. You gotta make sure you're good.
Those are facts. All facts right there. So yesterday I still was moving around, but I tried to get a little rest. But that's why you heard maybe a little pause. But I can't complain because I get a chance to wake up and do the work again. So I feel blessed, and it's a beautiful day for me. But looking at a lot of the situations, yes. Now we're looking at the recovery piece, right? We're looking at the businesses that are looking to recover. We're looking at the community that's trying to recover based on what happened after the George Floyd, after the protests and the riots, how businesses and different things were destroyed. And now what we're trying to do is see how we can help support those businesses. So myself and other organizations, we came together to create something where we came back out to give back to those businesses and help them clean up and board up and work on different tasks throughout this time to try to get the community back together and working together. So if that consists of clean up and board up, if it consists of me going to a protest or a march, and actually even this Friday we have a march tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And this is a youth march. This is a Youth Matters march because although we've looked at all these different areas to help everyone, a lot of people was forgetting about the kids. You know, we haven't, I mean, well, not the kids, the youth and the children rather. We forget all about that piece, like the children that usually be outside on the expressways, maybe with the little buckets and they tagging to get money, or the children who would use a particular program they would go to usually because it maybe kept them safe and it was a safe haven for them. And now they don't have that. Some of these places are under resourced now because of the pandemic. They haven't been able to get out there and raise money or make money. So what are they coming back to and what does that look like for them? So I'm joining with some organizations now to help these type of organizations out so they can be okay. So right now we're on the recovery piece where we're trying to get back. We're trying to come back. Man, rest in peace to George Floyd, because that was a spark of something that went around the entire United States, all around the world. And it's something that's bringing a lot of issues to the forefront. And I believe it's a good thing when we see the outcome of what's happening. Sadly that we had to lose another brother for something like this, but you see the outcome that's starting to happen. You see laws and policy and ideas are starting to come into place a little bit, and people are standing up. Even looking at the alderman over in the 17th Ward, David Moore, you see David Moore saying, hey, no contractors unless they are black contractors. They're making people invest back into our communities and into our people and making sure we can build our community wealth out of this. I myself, I'm working on some policies right now pertaining to a few things to see how I can actually do something to make some revisions in the FOP contract and things within that way without being so drastic and out here screaming defund the police department, right? Although they need to be defunded, I agree with that, but you defund them, who is going to be out here to work? Because then they don't have no money. If it sounds like we're going to just defund them, that sounds kind of crazy. But at the same time, I think it deals more with where the money goes, how much money is invested into certain things that the police department have going on, and how do we pull that money away and now put that money back into the communities and invest it into the right area.
Where's the march happening? You said there's going to be one happening on Friday. Where's that going to happen at?
Okay, so I hope I didn't cut off on you guys, but yeah, so that's why I'm at with it.
But you said there's going to be a protest Friday. Where's that happening at?
So this Friday, we'll be doing that over at Ogden Park, 6500 South Racine, and that's going to go all the way to 79th and Racine. So you're going to have a lot of like different dance teams, which is going to make it great because at each intersection, the dance teams are going to be able to get out there with the music and dance. So it's almost going to be like a mini Bud Billiken parade happening right here in Inglewood, going all the way to the Alvin Gresham tomorrow.
And that's so interesting too, because there's a meetup between Latin Kings and Gangster Disciples that people are trying to pull together of Little Village in North Lawndale that's happening today at 5 p.m. on 19th and Pulaski. And then there's and then I saw that there's another one happening on the Eisenhower in Congress. I'll post that flyer on my page. And then you said there's one going on Friday. And then we're having one on Saturday, a dog peace walk starting on Coster and Roosevelt, which will be on our page. So let me ask you this, Alderman candidate, how do you feel about, because like right now was totally what's totally trending right now are protests. They're everywhere. It's that's a thing in itself. What's your stance on that?
You know what? I believe if people are out here for the right cause, I mean, I mean, like that's their free speech, right? People got the right to come out here. What I feel about it, I can't, condemn or like, say if it's right or wrong what they doing because everybody is out there for a different reason. Am I tired of protests with no action behind it? Yes. I think we've seen that raised all this week, and we see a lot of different things where people even talking about the Black Lives Matter. Like, we know Black Lives Matter, right? We are like with Black Lives Matter. But when you look at the organizational part of what the Black Lives Matter has, and they got that name attached to it, it's pretty much ran by people who don't look like us.
Who's in charge? Who's in charge? Who's the CEO or the founder of Black Lives Matter?
You know what? I have no idea, but I'll tell you from me going to the protest, what I've seen is organized and what I've seen has been put together. It hasn't been by anybody who looks like me really at all. And when you look at the marches, I mean, you see it, right? So it's kind of like an organization that's probably just receiving funding still off of the backs of Black lives and just calling it Black Lives Matter.
When these protests are happening, and Denise said there are 3 Black women who funded BLM. What's their names? I'm just curious.
That's pretty cool then, because I don't know what's happening here. Well, hey, maybe it's different. I don't know. But
Denise just said he's off base. Alyssa Garza. So Denise is posting that Alyssa Garza is one of them, because I think that's the thing too that's happening. That I'm curious your stance. Alderman candidate.
Well, I guess I'll say, even if I don't say that part, I guess what I'm looking for more likely, without just even saying that part of it, is that I haven't seen anything that Black Lives Matter has came with on the legislative level or on a policy level that comes behind all of the screaming and marching. We don't have anything that they have the momentum, and not just the momentum. The crowd control. They have the people to come and say, this is what we want. And we don't really see a lot of that that's coming behind the Black Lives Matter.
Let me ask you this. The most huge, one of probably the biggest atrocities that happened in Chicago was the Laquan McDonald murder. What should have happened back then as far as protest and leadership?
Well, I think what you're seeing happen was probably the right thing that maybe happened when you're talking about the protesting and even the leadership part of it. Like, realistically, through history to now, everything is its own spark, and they all are breaking walls and breaking things to lead us into the next phases of how.
What should have been the conclusion though after that happened? So
I mean, for me, it was sad because Jason Van Dyke didn't get the time that. I don't think it's even no time on a life, but I don't believe that he even got a piece of a time that he was supposed to go and serve at all. And I think he's supposed to have more charges on him and everything else. He literally shot. I mean, when you sat in that court case, and I had the opportunity to sit there in the courtroom, when you sit there and you hear the details, or even if you're watching it and you hearing the fact that he simply just continued to shoot. I mean, a whole nother clip. I mean, just reckless, and just took somebody's life like that. There's no way you go and get a sentence, I think, of like 3 years and probably gonna do not even that piece of it and come home within a matter of months or something. Like, it's ridiculous what they are doing. So I just don't believe.
In your opinion, then, after the Laquan McDonald shooting, what should have happened as far as police reform then, in your opinion?
Well, police reform should have, it should have been worked on. It should have been worked on before Rodney King. Should have been worked on during Dr. King time. It should have. This is something that should have just been worked on. But I don't think it takes certain sparks. That's all. It takes certain sparks to make things happen sometime, and that's just how we live. Do we know it's supposed to be right? Do we have Black representatives all around the world that represent our communities in different areas, but yet are not really pushing for laws and things to be in place when we're talking about reform? Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff that just play factor with it. But Um, Even with Laquan McDonald, yes, I'm sure. Lori Lightfoot came out the other day and she specifically said that she's part reason and worked on the footage or different things like that coming out within a certain amount of time, and it has to match as the police report. So I think people added little pieces throughout time that helps, but nothing that really just goes on the books. It's just a band-aid. It's like what they do in life all the time. They put band-aids on everything. And what they do is they put these band-aid pieces of legislative and policy into stuff, but it still doesn't cover everything it really needs to cover. They're still able to get off on certain things. They're still able to maneuver through the law because it's not really a law that's just like on the book saying, hey, this is what it is. And I think going forward now, though, even looking at it, it's things that just has to be looked at. Like a lot of people don't know. And I mean, even the FOP contract, there's a certain number of years that if they do something on the force, they have a certain amount of years where they can go back and get their record wiped off. And then these people are still on the force no matter what. And you don't know this at all. And it's just like it never existed. Why they continue to probably do the same stuff while they on the force. And every 3 years, they probably just keep getting knocked off for how many of those years are. So stuff like that is in their contract. And people got to look at that.
So let's say this. I'm in charge. I can grant you one wish then. What is one deliverable? What do you want from me? I can make one thing happen for sure. What's that one thing you would ask then as far as police reform?
I would start it over. I would start it over from ground up, only because I don't believe no matter how much training or anything you continue to add, it won't do so. It's only going to do so much.
At some point, they have to be accountable for what they're doing.
Yeah,
like it should not have been any more names following after Laquan McDonald. You know what I'm saying? Any of that, or is there going to be another name after George Floyd? You know what I'm saying? So, like, at what point do the next cop look at the last cop and say, "Nah, we shouldn't even handle this situation like this"? You know what I'm saying? So, when does it stop?
What does start over mean? Like fire everybody and rehire everybody? What does start over mean?
Enforce the rules? I think whatever rules they have in place, whatever strategies that they have in place as far as the police academy is concerned, they need to reconstruct that.
I agree. Or at least, no matter what, make it equal. Make it a level playing field. Make it equal. Police have to.
Yeah, like they are out of. I mean, if it was any other, any other company, if we were to do something wrong, we would be fired.
How would you feel about?
There you go.
How would you feel about this? This would be my ask. If I have one wish, this is what I want. If you work in my ward, you have to live in my ward. Period. Simple as that. And my philosophy, what I believe would happen is that streets and sanitation, teachers, right, police officers, aldermen, whoever. If you work for the city and you work in that particular ward, you need to live in that ward. Period. Simple as that. Because I think, that's what we grew up with when there were precinct captains, and that was pretty much the way of the world. That the person that picked up my trash, he lived down the block. The person that drove in the police station, drove in the police car, he also lived on my block. The person that worked in the alderman's office, they lived in my block. Because it happens now, and people shouldn't be so shocked by that because it happens in Jefferson Park. It happens on the South Side in Beverly. That a lot of those people that live in that area also, a lot of people that work for the city also live in that area. But for the exception of areas like North Lawndale, where a lot of the people that work for the city, they don't live in that area. So you don't have that same sense of pride. And particularly with, policing. And my grandfather was a police officer for Chicago, dedicated his life to working for Chicago, and then also worked in Chicago housing, Chicago Vice. But what do you think, Alderman, what do you think of that concept?
Well, I think that's a great idea. That's something that is being tossed around a lot. How do we make it? Man, yeah, I think it's an amazing idea. A lot of people, I've been hearing it a lot, and I believe the same thing as at a certain extent. Police who are serving our communities absolutely should look like us, and they should be from our communities. That's how. But with us knowing that that's not the way right now, it's like, how do you make that kind of still happen? So
I
I
think
mean,
I mean, let me ask you this, Chanel. You're in the CPS system. If you took a position at a school that was over here on the west side, would you relocate to the west side to work there, or would you just find a new job?
I actually worked on the west side.
But I'm saying, so if we implement this new law, would you move, or would you find a new job?
I
well, most of those
would,
police will move.
right. I would probably move. I would
So
probably
you
move because
so you would love the job that much more than you would move to the community.
hmm
Yeah, I mean, because I think that's one of my. I think that's my opinion. That's what I'm asking for. We're doing our protest walk, and at the end of the walk, I agree with you, Alderman candidate, that there needs to be a deliverable. Our deliverable is voter registration, and at the end, as our numbers increase, that if you work for the city, now you have to live in the city if you work for the city. But I'm saying that needs to be broken down and fine, even on a smaller micro level, if you have to live in that area. Let me ask you this, Alderman candidate. So give me the name of, in your opinion, of the black leader that's in charge and represents us on a national level.
I don't think we have one of those, do we? I don't think we have one, and there's no disrespect to anyone. I just don't think we have one.
Who do you say, Chanel?
I don't know. I don't know.
So I mean, an issue by itself. If we're saying that two people, we can't name anyone. I mean, so you wouldn't consider, so Jesse's not in charge, Alderman candidate?
No, um, I just have a due respect for Jesse, for Russ, and for everyone that's 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 our seniors. But I think for the
Torian already
seniors,
knows how I feel about politics.
yeah, I
So
think
you would
I
say
think I think I
can't
think
name
they are
one?
seniors now. They are at the age where they need help themselves. So if they
They're
need help,
tired. They've been
how can
around
they
for a
help us?
while.
So are you saying that we don't have one person that is in
We
charge and we
we
as a
don't we don't have one black leader at the moment that is helping anybody in the black community. Every black leader we have, anybody who they think can get and organize tons of people or black people together, anything within that way, they kill them or they lock them up. And we haven't seen anything that powerful, anything like that in a very long time. And I don't see it in today's time. Even anyone you would probably think of and name on some type of level, they've already been bought out. The reason why you don't see a lot of black
when
people
you say
coming
they've already
together
been
more.
bought out, what does that mean?
That mean that they are only on their agenda or personal, um something that's personal. It's not just for people no more.
Like who,
Most
for
people,
example, who's been bought out? Let's put them
I
on black.
well, I don't I don't know because I'm not the treasurer. I'm not looking at the records and things, but I would say it's only so far that they will let you go. It's when you get in this type of line of work, you just got to be
hmm
with it, and you got to be real for real. Like even Obama, I love Obama. I like Obama a lot,
But I feel
but
like it was so far that he had to go.
it
Like
was
he
only
couldn't.
so far they was gonna let him
Yeah,
go. It was only so far they was gonna let
exactly.
him go because if he do, Obama got a voice. He got the
Right.
power to bring a lot of people together.
But it's
But
capped. Yep.
yeah, but it's only so much that he can really do. He want to organize. He
So you're
want to
saying,
build the next great leaders to come.
so Obama's not in charge. You're saying Farrakhan's not, Jesse's not in charge. What about Jay Z? Can we look at Jay Z's? Someone has to be in charge. No one's in charge.
I mean, if you just want to look at how much people make, but when you're talking about actually bringing people together, that's like me asking you, who would you think be the next person that could lead a real million man march down in DC? And I don't care if it's Jay-Z or P. Diddy, who you telling me that can do something like that and really get 1 million people back out there again?
You telling me there's
on like
nobody you're saying there's nobody in charge then?
I mean, that Farrakhan has done it before. I think one year he took over and did that, but that was even a while back.
But as of right now, you're basically saying nobody's in charge.
As of right now, I can't think of anyone to name.
Who do you think
everyone play? Yeah, I mean, LeBron James donates. I mean, it's not just about being in charge. It's about what you're doing for the people in your community.
Well,
it's like you got to take care of people. Like, who's out here just like out here on a regular basis, just saying this is what we build in every city and state. This is the money we pushing off to this. This is what we got. Like, I don't know who's really got something shaped like that yet, and that is one person that if they click their fingers, people are marching and rolling with them, and they're changing. And we ain't just marching, but we changing policy and laws too. We come in and saying, you know what, this police just did this. This is done as of today.
But the bottom line is that you're saying there's not one person we don't have a Malcolm right now. So let me ask you this: as part of the issue right now with the rioting and the looting is because that we don't have a big brother, we don't have an alpha wolf, that we don't have one person that's like that can say stop it on the national, international level for Black America?
Well, no, I don't think it got to be a one person. I think it could be you, it could be me, it could be any person who just cares about the next person to tell them don't do that. We just need guidance out here.
Okay, so who sits down with leadership and says, hey, this is what I want? Because somebody has to be in charge. Someone has to bring the deliverable. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, it's our people that we've elected. They're the ones that have to write the bill. But who's the person? Someone has to be the deliverable that brings that message to the people that are elected.
I'll say this. With the children that we have now that's growing up, and we see what they're watching and what they're doing and what they're looking and all this type of stuff, I mean, it's all about the message, right? It's all about and that part is absolutely true. It's definitely scary, but it's all about the message that puts it out. So it's not like a one person thing. Like if I got Megan Thee Stallion and maybe got LeBron and Jay-Z and put all three of them together, how many youth will really show up for that? Probably a whole lot. How much can they really say out of their mouths together? They can probably affect some people, but not just saying it, putting some stuff behind it too to help these people. They got the power to do things, but the power that they got is everybody uses their power for different things, and some people use it for the good, but you just can't save the world and you can't save everybody. And again, it goes to the simple fact of what we've seen in history. Anybody that can pull that many people, Black people, period, together, anybody that can pull a mass amount of people together to try to make some damage to what we see here, they are not around any longer right now. It don't matter if it's on a gang level and they're all locked up, or if you're looking at it on a level where we had that one great leader. And I don't see nobody who's that one great leader.
Will there ever be another Malcolm or other Gandhi? Will there ever be another Martin? Will there ever be another Stone?
I believe so. I got hope. I got that mustard seed of hope where I believe that you will absolutely, with no doubt about it, see something like that one day again. But it's gonna have to, again, you gotta be willing to push the envelope on it. You gotta be willing to push it and not be scared, because in that line of work, it's gonna be a lot to come with it. People gonna try to kill you. They're gonna try to knock you down. You gotta line up to what you're saying out of your mouth, and you gotta be real with it. You gotta be willing to go all the way there. Them people were willing to go all the way there. They knew consequences that can come behind a lot of that stuff, but they were willing to continue that fight because they knew it was for a bigger cause. And people think like that.
The change is coming. As of today, I'm going to nominate Chanel. You're in charge. So get to work. I need you to get on your job.
I'm going to have to start being in the studio with you so I could just smack you when you say stuff.
That's what happens when you're not here. When I'm alone, I can do what I want. Oh, so Alderman, let me ask you this question. So I just want to just go straight to the meat and potatoes here and ask some tough questions. So you believe George Floyd, that death was bad, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But he wasn't a model citizen. right? He had bad things going on. So if someone comes to you and they don't look like you, say a white American comes to you and say, "Hey, Joe, why are you freaking out? Why are you tearing your stuff or why are you looting? This guy did bad things. He wasn't a model citizen." What's your response to that?
Well, I'm gonna give you one quick one. I seen Miss Denise on here. Miss Denise, no offense to Black Lives Matter. As long as it's for something positive, I am fully in support of it all the time. Would I love to see more policy and law come behind some of the things Black Lives Matter do? Yes, I would love to see that, and I would support that 100%. So no offense. So if it's ran by some black, wonderful young ladies, I support it a whole 100%. I can only speak on my experience and me being out on the ground and being a part of different.
No offense at all to Black Lives Matter. Okay, yeah. Let's get back to this question.
All right, so back to your George Floyd question.
Here you are.
I can't see that. Yeah.
Here you are with your white buddy, and he says, "Joe, why are you going crazy, throwing protests and having people dancing in the street in memorial of George Floyd? George Floyd wasn't a model citizen." What's your response to that?
Well, I can't see that part of it. Only part I can see is a police with his knee on a black brother's neck, and he held it there until he just couldn't breathe. That's what I see. I didn't see a background when he was laying on that ground with a police knee on. I didn't see what his history was. I didn't see if he had domestics. I didn't see anything but him on the ground begging for his mother and saying he couldn't breathe, and a police with his knee on his neck. That's what
Period.
I see. So when you
regardless of who it was.
So when you come after the fact with trying to destroy somebody's character, I didn't see character when I looked at the video. I only seen a police doing something he absolutely should have not been doing, and he killed someone live on film in front of everyone. He didn't care at all. That's what I've seen. So I don't know anything about George Floyd personally, other than I know he has children and something like that. I hate to hear when anybody gets killed and they have children. I really hate that because these kids need their parents. So that's the only piece that I know about is the children part of it. But I don't know anything about George Floyd. So
I'm at the bar.
I can't even listen to the media. I can't listen to the media about it because the media does what they do for certain reason. I can't listen to nobody. The only thing I can go by is what I seen on that video. And on that video, I'm telling you what I seen. So that's what I seen on the video. Anything beyond that, what extra records that they could have made, or maybe exist or don't exist, or maybe it's real, I don't know. And I don't even want to weigh in on it because his character doesn't deal with him dying for no reason
at
that
all.
day.
But the character is coming up now. So what would you say then to the person that would be said to that will be trying to fight to not have a physical reaction to that comment of someone saying, "Hey, Joe, hey, Chanel, I'm not saying that I justify him dying or that he should have died, but I'm just saying that he wasn't a good person." Because
it doesn't matter. Like they're not the judge of who's a good person or not. Like everybody has issues, backgrounds on whatever it is that they're dealing with, regardless if it's good or if it's bad. Like whatever it was that he was arrested for did not cost him his life. Period.
Absolutely.
So regardless of his background, and he could have killed 13 people prior to that. They didn't have the right to kill him on spot like that. Take the trial and do exactly what they're supposed to do when somebody's arrested, not kill them on spot.
Yeah.
And Toriano beats me up because I haven't watched the video. I don't want to watch the video.
A lot of people don't.
I don't like that type of energy. And I know that he's saying that it's good that I need to, but I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like entering that type of energy into my life. But anyway, that's enough. I've seen the pictures. That's enough for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, background or not, I don't think that justifies somebody being killed. Nobody, in my opinion, should be able to take a life. Nobody. Not the electric chair, any of that.
Well, I'm bringing that up because I want people to understand and be armed with skills of coping if they're at a bar, a barbecue, a family outing, gas station, and everyone's not going to be crying tears for George Floyd. Some people are going to say that why is George Floyd the poster child for injustice now, right? And some people are going to equate George Floyd to COVID, meaning right when I was about to open up my business, George Floyd went and got himself killed. And now
all of that is going on right now. I mean, it's not that's happening right now. People are saying the exact same thing right now. You know what I'm saying? People have different intakes on it, you know, whether it's planned, it was strategic, whatever the case is, it shouldn't have went down like that. So however it is that you look at it, it should not have went down like that, period.
Absolutely.
Well, of course, that's being said because, I mean, did you see the video of the 86-year-old white gentleman that was pushed down?
No, don't want to see that either.
He got pushed down by the police. He tripped it. He was bleeding out the head or something.
I mean, President Trump said that guy was potentially part of Antifa. That guy intentionally was antagonizing the police officers. So he fell backwards harder than what he needed to, bust his head as a way to make the police officers look bad. So I mean, if they're finding justification in a white male falling backwards, there's clearly going to be justification in George Floyd, who had a background, being murdered. And what would you say, Alderman candidate, to how should someone cope with that if they're addressed, if an angry young person of any race and color, because that's one thing for sure, unlike any other time in this world, everyone is protesting. So I'm not going to say that there was a young black male that hears a statement like that and they're upset, or a young black woman or an old black woman, anyone, or an old black man, there's many people upset, clearly, because it's not just black people out there protesting. As you said earlier, there's people out there protesting that don't look like you or look like me. But it's when someone hears something that contradicts protesting to get either they mean it with all their heart or they're outside. So you go. What would you say? What would you say that to that person in order to just remain calm and not potentially create second wave of riot, protest, looting part two due to the reaction of someone saying something off colors such as that?
All right, give me that question one more time.
Basically, someone makes a comment to you, take your most militant person. They say, hey, George Floyd deserved to die because he wasn't a good person.
Yeah.
No one deserves to die.
How do you tell that person?
Stuff, you know what? All I can tell you is stuff like that can just probably bring.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think my phone came out on me. But anybody who says something like that just doesn't respect life, right? And they're looking for something to either happen to them or they're just being simply racist. It doesn't. Again, I think Chanel said it on so many levels. It doesn't matter. I mean, if I knew what his character was beforehand, and I still looked at him on the ground with someone's knee, he wasn't even apprehended or treated the correct way. If you were going to lock somebody up, even if you were looking for a murder, I mean, we see it on a regular where you see the arrest of white and black. You see the difference. You can see somebody shoot up a whole theater, and you can still apprehend him with weapon. And then you see a black man with no weapon, and he just get killed. So we see the indifference like all around, no matter what level we look at it on, we see it happening. So anybody who states something like that out their mouth, they're simply just racist, or they obviously want to just continue to build tension within one another. It's not nobody deserves to die. Nobody do. Nobody deserves to die. No. Only person that's supposed to decide that is God. And it seems like that the police have became judge and jury in these streets. And that's why we go back to talking about the policy and law. Because the police knew when I shoot this young man down, I'm finna get my ass arrested and threw into the back of a police car the same way anybody else who does that same crime would do. Then they would have some accountability and they would know and think twice before they pull that trigger, because they know when they pull that trigger,
but they're not even supposed to shoot to kill though. Like, aren't they supposed to like shoot a leg or something?
Yep, absolutely. They're not supposed. There's so many ways. I mean, taser to anything you could think of if you think somebody is a threat, but they don't do half of that. They are literally just shooting. And a lot of that goes into what's in place on the books, the protection that's there for them. Even when they do this, do you not understand? They got 24 hours before they got to come and meet with you, and they can't even be at the police spot. It be at other places where they get a chance. So they get 24 hours to get home and come up with a full-blown, perfect story to then come back and interview with you. If you just read the contract within itself, everything there is set up wrong. Everything is set up wrong. So you have to go, and the main thing is attack the contract, attack these things that's in it that protects them. They only do it because they know that they are protected. That's why when they get charged with certain stuff, people be like, oh, that ain't nothing. What, manslaughter, third degree, and this, and that? Because it ain't really a lot when you're looking at the coverage that they really got that protects them. That's there. It's just law that's there that helps them out so much. So until they can be held accountable, that's the only time you're ever going to see real change.
And I just want to be clear too. I mean, I'm just playing devil advocates here. Say I'm a police officer and I'm out here every day. You know, don't blame me. Blame the training. You know, don't blame the player. Blame the coach. I mean, did I receive significant enough training? Because every day, you know, you're out 13, 15-hour day shift, and PTSD is real. Every traffic stop, every house you walk into, every dark alley, you're constantly trying to stay alive. Wake up in the morning, go to work, hit the streets, come back home alive. So do you believe, I mean, is clearly the training is not strong enough, you know, that I think that's where we have to start too, is really examining the amount of training.
And that's
there
why
should always be a domino effect to me. Like, police duty is to protect and to serve, right? There should never be a time where I'm driving in front of a police car and I'm like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm nervous about something or whatever. I should never get that feeling. When they arrest, if they were to arrest somebody for whatever reason, misconduct, any of that, like, there should be a domino effect on why this person is acting that way. I know that people mention like mental institutions for people who, you know, aren't capable of living or making the decisions. I don't know. But I always feel like there's a root of a problem with why people act the way that they act. You know, people out here killing people. Why are they killing people? You know what I'm saying? The shortage of food or resources that they have within these communities. So there's always I think the police are there to serve and protect. Like, why aren't they able to come together, like you said, within the communities to help us as citizens solve some of the problems that we have? And it should be as simple as that. Why is it any other way?
And I'm going to say we're putting too much pressure and responsibility on the police officers. I'm saying that it's an easy fix, right? It's an easy fix. A person has to.
But when somebody apply to be a police officer, what are they looking for?
They're their own entity. I mean, let's just even say that they have the worst training in the world. It doesn't matter if you police yourself. I mean, that's the thing too, which goes beyond the police, because especially in the Black community, if you have a single mom who's 16 years old and she has 2 children already, right? And she has to raise this child, and she's third generation as far as single moms, right? And their children are out in the streets because the father is incarcerated or making his second family or third family, right? And that people are put in situations where they're going to do what they have to do to live to survive, so they sell drugs. They're going to do what they need to live to survive, so they steal. But it starts with, and at least let's just talk about Chicago. I can talk about a lot of other places that I live, but just in Chicago, you cannot have a Whitney Young in a Collins High School in the same breath, right? I grew up on the west side of Chicago, and I did not participate in public school. I went to private school, right? My mother and my family broke their back and destroyed their life so that I could go to private school, right? So, but you cannot have a Whitney Young in Collins High School. You cannot have a Farragut in a Walter Payton in the same breath, in the same location, ever. Because it ultimately all comes down to a breakdown in.
No, I'm not running errands for the event.
Who's that background? Is that Chanel?
I'm sorry, you can't hear the background. No, that's my background. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That you cannot. These things would all be. For example, where George Floyd lived. I mean, where he was found in South Minneapolis. When I was in South Minneapolis in 2001, it was even. Let me back up. When I moved to Minneapolis in 1996, Minnesotans considered where I live, Northeast Minneapolis, the hood. I mean, it was not the hood in comparison to the west side of Chicago, but people that lived in Northeast Minneapolis and North Minneapolis were treated differently from people that lived in Southeast Minneapolis or lived in Minnetonka. That we as Americans and we as Chicagoans or wherever you are at, we can't be okay when we know that our neighbors aren't okay. We can't just say that, oh yeah, the West. Like, for example, I don't see for every black, and I'm saying for me included, that we can't be okay right now. There's no liquor store. There's no liquor store. We can't be okay that there's no grocery store in North Lawndale right now. We can't be okay with that. Period. Simple as that. 100%. If you are in Illinois, you cannot be okay that there's not one grocery store in North Lawndale. Period. Not when there's Lund's, Whole Foods, Mariano's, and everything else still up and going. You cannot be okay with that. Period. We're just talking about a basic necessity called eating. Period. So if you take away that basic necessity of eating, what do you expect? Right? A breakdown in community. It has nothing to do with the police. It has to do with the fact that the education, we were at a deficit from day one. I mean, we're all only maybe third or fourth generation freedmen. My great-grandmother, Queen Clarice Reed, her father was a slave. She remembers that. She was born in 1919, and then she raised me, right? And I was born in 1974. So we went from slavery to sharecropping to Jim Crow to good old-fashioned separate but equal to racism to what I grew up in. We couldn't cross Cicero. But if you take the education out of the component and having an inferior education, in the United States of America, there should not be any inferior education at all. Not when you have a PlayStation, Xbox game where you can play an NBA game and see the sweat come off the person's eyebrow and they look real. There's no reason why we can't have online classes with technology that a child can sit and watch and play and interact from the time they're a baby till a master's degree all online and go to a fabulous school. But as long as we're cool with having inferior schools, it's not going to matter. We cannot be cool. It can't be cool that people are lying about where they live so their kid can go to school in Hyde Park. We can't have people lying so their kid can go to school in Oak Park. That it all comes down to the education. And for there to be some big revelation on defund the police and put money into education, right? It's only cool when it's not your kid that's going to that school. You can't have a Chicago lab school, you can't have a British school, you can't have a Latin school and have a Collins school, because then you already created the system of classism where, of course, the people with lack of education aren't going to know what to do when they get stopped by a police officer. If you have a higher education, you're not going to get stopped because you're not going to be in the situations to get stopped, right? It's rooted all in education and it's rooted all in the jobs. And until we are okay and in outraged about poor education for anyone in the world, but especially in America, you're going to keep having the same problem. Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And it's real simple. It's real simple. It's like even like everyone's doing these protests, right? And everyone's walking. Lord knows I don't need one more project. I don't need any more projects. But the reason why we're even, and thank you, Chanel, and thank you to the whole squad, and thank you to Ron Cool, thank you to my family that puts up with my madness and my crew that puts up with my madness and everything.
Amen.
We don't need one more project. You know why while we're walking our little feet through North Lawndale? Because people that I know, I'm calling everybody up because I want them to walk through North Lawndale. And then when we get to Roosevelt and Holman, I'm going to say, look over there. That was the grocery store. That is no more. And it's boarded up. And even if it's open, it's still boarded up because nobody wanted to even go into it when it was not boarded up. Because it was rancid. It was rats. Only people that went there were people that didn't have transportation. So how are we cool being in the third? How can we be in Chicago when there's a big old thing downtown that's silver that looks like a bean that people go take pictures with when you have a place in this great city of Chicago where the average income per year is $13,000 a year? There's people that make $13,000 in an hour, in a day, in a week, in a month for sure. But when the average income is $13,000 for a year, I know Alderman Kennedy, that's why you ran for Alderman. That's why I ran for Alderman. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we're bringing up. But that's what I feel that it's not about getting rid of it. It has nothing to do with the police. It has to do with education. And the education system is broken. And until if you want to fire everyone and start over, you got to start there because it doesn't keep up. It's not preparing children at the early age of what and how to compete on a global level in this new world, which, as Malcolm said, the chickens have come home to roost.
Absolutely. You got it. I think you just hit it dead on.
Oh yeah, it's and we like to think that these riots are over, and everyone and someone just the other day, I posted on this group that I'm in on Facebook that their business got broken into last night and completely ransacked. So even when people are telling me, Toriano, take the plywood down, well, it's not that simple for me. Because if you live in Saginaw, if you live in wherever, Hyde Park, wherever you live that you feel that you don't need plywood, I applaud you and I'm happy for you. But where I live and what I drive through and what I see are things where people are still hungry. And then they're getting hungrier and hungrier. And that not only are you now in a situation of a pandemic called Corona, you're also in a conceptual pandemic virus called George Floyd. Like take the man George Floyd out of it. But just like how we had to call it smallpox because we had to call it something. We had to call it chicken pox because we had to call it something. Call this conceptual virus now George Floyd, which is it's out of control. It's spreading all throughout the world. So some people want it to be over quickly so they can move on with their life. But this time around, that's what my concern is, that they're not going to be able to move on quickly, move on with their life until people that have not seen that video, that have not read those transcripts, that have not walked through North Lawndale or Inglewood or some of the places that were completely decimated, Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, the places that were completely decimated, until they look and see those places, they're not going to get the gravity of all this. They have to experience it. You have to touch it and feel it. This war cannot be ran. This war cannot be won from the Oval Office, cannot be one from the boardroom, cannot be one from City Hall. That's Alderman candidate. You know what I said to someone?
Yeah.
They should just shut down City Hall and do all their business in these empty vacant lots. They should set up tents. They should be right on the ground.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I think that's a great idea.
They should set up shop in some of these empty public schools that are just sitting and rotting. Right? They should set up shop in some of these buildings that have been sitting and rotting for the last 48 years, at least as long as I've seen them. Right? They don't need and then because if not, it's just all in theory, right? It's just all in theory until you see it and you talk to. Like a lot of people don't know, like Minnesota. I live in St. Peter and Mankato, Minnesota. It has one of the highest sex trade trafficking for teens. But until you talk to a teen until you talk to a homeless teen that tells you that when they get out of high school at 4 o'clock, they spend from 4 p.m. till 7 a.m. the next day dodging what they call the body snatchers. I remember I said, what's a body snatcher? And then this kid named Dylan leaned forward and said, the ones that look for the kids at night. And my heart sunk. I puked in my mouth. I said, the ones that look
on that hut, the one what?
The ones that look for the kids at night.
Oh, wow.
And Minnesota has one of the highest sex trade. So that's slavery. And they don't care what race you are. You can end up gone forever. Right? So it's not that I fault anyone for not knowing about George Floyd or that police brutality exists, or that I don't fault anyone for not knowing that sex trade happens in Minnesota. I don't fault anyone for not knowing that, the average income in North Lawndale is only $13,000 a year that people live in poverty. But if you're hearing this and now you know, I fault you if you don't expose yourself to it and want to change that however you can. And I would say change can simply just come from walking through there, and seeing it. Because until you see it, you don't really get it. And this time around, I don't think we have the luxury to just sit back and let it work its way out, because this time, and I truly mean this, that the life you save might be your own. I truly this time around, because it's just there's no example of this stuff lightening up. Would you agree, Alderman candidate? I don't see these protests seem to only be multiplying.
Yeah.
Well, clearly, I know you just named. I know of 4 protests right now that are happening.
Oh, it's a lot of them happening.
I know you one after one you just said. I now know of 4. I know of 1 tonight. Now 2 tomorrow, and as of right now, 1 for sure on Saturday.
Oh yeah, it's going down. If you just go on Facebook and events, that's all you're gonna see. There's events lined up, going for miles away. But only thing I ask is that, again, everybody do their events for different reasons, and I'm sure it's a positive cause. I just ask that, what's next after your event? What plan of action or plan are you willing to put in place to help hold these police officers accountable, to help hold these elected officials accountable? We talking, we marching, but I would love to see action behind it. And I'm in support. If anybody want to put some action, they want to work with me on doing that, I am in support of that. But I think the marches only will do so much until we put an action behind it. Let's march and shut down CTA. Don't let the city tell us when CTA going to shut us down because they don't want us to come into downtown and up north. How about we just shut it down? We say we're not going to spend our money on CTA for a day. So how do these marches look when they're actually organized and they're hitting the pockets of the people that's keeping us oppressed and depressed?
Right. Amen. Oh, Alderman candidate, it is always a pleasure talking to you. We go through an hour secret calls. I love you, man. I love your energy. Whenever I bump into you on the street, it's always much love. Tell people again, where are you having? Where is your protest at?
Okay, so definitely it's not mine. It's me and a lot of organizations, MBM dance team, my girl Cynthia Manuel. All three of us came together with the idea and said, let's do this for youth organizations in Chicago. So with that being said, it's going down at Ogden Park on 65th and Racine, and it's gonna go from 65th and Racine all the way to 79th and Racine. Each main intersection, you're gonna see like dance off and music going. It's gonna be like a dope thing. So if y'all don't have anything to do, and if you're listening to the station today, come out, join us on the sidelines, or just come join us in the parade. It's gonna be something really, really cool, and it's for the kids. You know, youth matters. Youth matters. So the Youth Matters March is what I'm representing tomorrow, and I'm excited to just get ready to do the thing.
And then will you then be able to share that then on my page then so people can be aware of it?
Yes, I will. I can share the flyer and tag you, and then I definitely will put it on Facebook again and make sure that information is out.
And then Alderman candidate, what are you doing Saturday?
Saturday. No idea yet. Don't quote me.
Can you venture over here to the west side of Chicago for us North Lawndale people?
I thought about it when you were saying it. The only thing that was in the back of my mind is that I don't mess with dogs. I don't care if it's a puppy. I don't stand away. But definitely with no doubt about it. But I see you got them like trained and like you are good at what you do. So for you, that might just actually be a possibility. But I'm only staying with you and yours. Though anybody else run up on me, man, I'm telling you right now, it might be a problem. But no doubt about it. Saturday, I would love to probably go ahead and get out there. You know, weekends is my family time, but the babies
bring the family.
I was just about to say that because the babies they love all that type of stuff. Only the big girls are scared of dogs, like me. But the small babies, man, they be like walking up, rubbing them, trying to ride them. They don't be playing no games. So, yeah. So I'm down, man. I'm down. So
that would be cool because we're gonna 8 a.m. We're gonna start on Roosevelt and Costner, which is a historic site. That's where a lot of the land. It was a land field for many years. That a lot of illegal dumping happened there, and we're gonna walk east on Roosevelt, passing just a lot of just other historic sites. You know, Dr. King, for people that don't know, lived in North Lawndale.
See, you just sold me right there. That's how you sold me. I love that part. I love history.
Dr. King lived in North Lawndale. A lot of people don't know that. Dr. James Bevel, who actually, you mentioned the Millionaire March. A lot of people don't know Dr. James Bevel, who people should Google if they don't know who he is. But he was a strategist for Dr. King, and he also organized the Million Man March before he died. But he's the one that was responsible for bringing Dr. King to the west side of Chicago when he lived on 16th and Hamlin, I'm sorry. But then we'll be just walking right down there, gonna make a left over to Loomis, over to Arrigo Park, and just sit there and talk, socialize, and do more of this, but do it safely with our mask on. We're gonna have, we're gonna have masks we're gonna have at least 200 some masks for people, custom masks that will say "I can't breathe." So if you come on out, you'll get, you'll be able to have access to a mask and to a "I can't breathe" T-shirt. And we'll have for the first 50 people that get out there, we'll have some George Floyd "I can't breathe" hats, dad caps. So
man, I'm gonna be early. I'm coming. And first of all, you just said Martin Luther King. You got free stuff. Oh, I'm coming out. I will be there. I will be there tomorrow. Saturday, I will be there.
I'm looking forward to. And Chanel is going to be coasting in her fancy car. She's going to be our pace.
Would you cut it out, please?
Oh, that's going to be dope. Hey, look, can I be like a politician Saturday and like come, you know how they come for like the first few minutes and then they just dip off out of nowhere and go ghost?
Even better, Alderman candidate Chanel will drive. She'll be your chauffeur in her fancy sports car.
Would you stop?
What?
Yeah.
Joseph, don't listen to him.
Chanel.
You've been tap dancing on my nerves all week.
Chanel said I'll participate, but I have to drive. I'll drive on the side.
I never even said that. That was your assignment.
Hey, that sounds dope. Well, I can tell you guys right now, I'm going to put it on the calendar, and I'm bringing the family out. So we're going to get out there to definitely show support.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate all our viewers. There's another Podbean Live Thank you, Podbeam Live. We're going to share this. Thank you for all the people on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you, Joseph.
And thank you guys so much for having me.
Share this broadcast. Thank you for my team, Rejoice, for Greg Richards, for Tyrone Scott, Shacky Shack, Denzel, and the whole Wolfkeeper family. We appreciate you all. It's only fitting Bentley closes out.
He had to say his piece.
Clearly. All right. You guys, thank you.
Peace and love, guys.